Hey, what is up, people? It is February 6th, 2022. I meant to get on this platform last night and give a few of my thoughts on Joe Rogan, The Rock, the people that were defending Joe Rogan, the people who were calling The Rock a punk for walking back his defense of Joe Rogan, India Ari, so many actors. And when I say actors, I'm talking actors in a political sense in regards to this news story, not like actors, right? But anyway, this Joe Rogan story is a little layered. I think a lot of people are overthinking it, but I got some thoughts about Joe Rogan, and India Ari releasing that super mix of him saying the N word. Shout out to India Ari. I have loved India Ari for the greater part of probably about 20 years now, maybe longer than that. She's always been somebody that I never thought quite got her due in the music industry. I was a fan of Joe Rogan for a little while, and then his show just got a little silly. And even with the COVID, the anti-COVID doctors who are doctors, but in not doctors of virology. It's just people spewing nonsense, and Joe Rogan constantly reaffirming his own confirmation bias as to why vaccines suck. And to Joe Rogan's defense, so to speak, he's had deep, good doctors on the show, but they don't get anywhere near the platform as these quacks that he's had on the show. Like I saw the episode where him and Dr. Gupta from CNN went back and forth. So I'm not here to just completely shit on Joe Rogan, but I do want to talk about his N-word usage, because I've been seeing some pretty ridiculous defenses of it. And these aren't just defenses from the same old white people you'd expect to defend Joe Rogan, the free speech losers, the ones that always are out there waving the flag of free speech, but only like the free speech when it's them saying it, not when somebody is counteracting what they're saying. They just want to spew free speech rhetoric because it suits them. Your Ben Shapiro's, your Louder with Crowder, those kind of folks, just wanting to just defend whatever nonsense is out there under the guise of free speech. I'd even put Bill Maher in the category with those dudes, because Bill Maher only likes free speech when it's suited towards him. You know what I'm saying? Where, he doesn't perform colleges because, college students are soft and whatever. His words, not mine. But anyway, one defense of this that I saw of Joe Rogan saying the N-word was from Ari Spears. So Ari Spears is a comedian. I've known who Ari Spears is for a long time. I never really loved Mad TV, but I liked him on Mad TV because he always did the greatest spot on impressions. Ari Spears is a talented dude. Sometimes his mouth gets him in trouble, and his old mouth robs his brother of opportunities. But and here's the thing with Ari Spears. some of the stuff that he says is kind of ignorant, but some of the stuff he says is might still be kind of ignorant, but I can see how he arrives to those thoughts, even though I think the thought itself is ignorant. I just don't think Ari Spears has the gift of eloquently stating his points. I met Ari Spears, and he's probably not going to remember this because it was a long ass time ago. But I met him at I think it was the Comedy Union in LA on Pico, where he performed a set. And he's, like I said, the guy's pretty funny. Or it could have been Flappers in Burbank. I don't know. Me and my girlfriend go to a lot of comedy shows, but I shook his hand for a second, met him. Nice dude when I met him, but I only met him for like 5 seconds, and that was the end of that. So again, I like Ari Spears. This take that he had on Joe Rogan saying the N-word, I thought was a little bit, I thought it was him overthinking a white man saying the N-word. Because Joe Rogan hasn't been canceled. Let's get that out the way right now. He hasn't been canceled. He ain't gonna be canceled. He will be around for a minute because he makes Spotify a lot of money. So I always crack up at these fools who are screaming about cancel culture as they're on their YouTube channels, or as they're on the World Wide Web, or as they're on Fox News with a big, huge platform screaming about being canceled, and they still have their platforms to spew whatever garbage rhetoric they want to spew. So what Ari Spears did essentially was he compared Joe Rogan to Leonardo DiCaprio saying the N-word in Django Unchained, and to Quentin Tarantino's gratuitous use of the N-word in all of his movies. I thought that was a more accurate comparison, because Quentin Tarantino does have a lot of movies where the actors in it say the N-word a bunch of times. I don't even like Reservoir Dogs. I love that movie, but there's a scene where Quentin Tarantino and whoever else is in there saying, "We're acting like niggers. Do you want to do that?" I just said it, so YouTube is probably gonna put a check on this or whatever. But anyway, we're acting like Edwards. We're better than this, or something like that. In Reservoir Dogs, in Pulp Fiction, he says, does my place say dead N-word storage? Those kind of movies where I just don't think it's necessary to say the N-word. I don't see how it drives the story forward, but whatever. But the Leonardo DiCaprio comparison I thought was a little bit different, because one, he's in a movie about slavery, and I don't know how many times he said the N-word in Django Unchained. I think it was maybe once. And the difference between Leonardo DiCaprio saying it and Joe Rogan saying it is simply Leonardo DiCaprio was saying it in written dialogue. Joe Rogan, I don't know the exact context of him saying the N-word, but I do know it was conversationally first. And he also told the story of, being around, he basically said he was dropped off in a neighborhood that reminded him of Planet of the Apes, which is calling Black people monkeys, apes, which is also a racist trope. So, but Ari Spears basically said, if we're going to cancel Joe Rogan for saying the N-word, are we going to cancel Leonardo DiCaprio or Blazing Saddles or whatever? And I love Blazing Saddles too, but I don't think that movie, I don't think that movie gets made in 2022. So that's just how it is. The humor in the 80s was 70s, 80s is different from the humor in 2022. It just is what it is. But I don't think you could make a compilation of I don't think Leonardo DiCaprio has said the N-word enough times in public. I'm not trying to insinuate he says it in private, but he's not said the N-word enough times on tape to where you can make a whole compilation. Like what India Ari showed with Joe Rogan saying the N-word was basically a best of Joe Rogan saying the N-word. It was a compilation of this dude saying nigger, or, again, the YouTube stuff. Sometimes I just can't. N-word, 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 N-word. And he was saying it with the hard E-R. You know what I'm saying? He was saying nigger. That's what he was saying. And he was saying it conversationally, talking about Lenny Bruce, Richard Pryor, Red Fox, how they used to say the word. And I guess he was trying to say that wouldn't be appropriate today, but he kept on saying the N-word. And he was comfortable saying it. That's the thing too. And here's the thing. So I've had this issue before with white boys, where they're telling stories. One in particular, I worked with this guy a long time ago, and he saw that Nigger family sketch from the Chappelle show. And in that sketch, Chappelle, there's this white family named the Nigger family, and the N-word comes up a bunch in it. And this white dude thought it was the funniest thing on the planet. And he was like, did you see the Chappelle show where they had the nigger family? And he just kept on repeating the word. And it got to a point where he was just way too comfortable saying it. And he was comfortable saying it because he was getting away with saying it, right? Because nobody was checking him. Because at first it was like, okay, well, he's just quoting this sketch on the Chappelle show. We're not going to check him for saying it. But then he just goes on and on and on to the point where I finally had to say, look, dude, you're saying that word way too much. I know you're quoting what happened on the Chappelle show, but you need to fall back on that. That's just the simple fact of the matter. And to his credit, he did. With Dave Chappelle, with Joe Rogan rather, I think it was a scenario like that. I think Joe Rogan has a lot of Black comedian friends. Joe Rogan is a comedian himself, and Joe Rogan is more or less a storyteller, because when I used to listen to his podcast a while back, he told a lot of stories. But these N-word things, when you have someone that could compile all the times you've said the N-word into like that many clips where you've said it 25, 24 times, that's just the stuff that people lifted from the internet. There could be way more times you said that. You got a problem with saying the N-word, and you're too comfortable saying it. So you probably shouldn't be saying it as much. And as far as Ari Spears defending Joe Rogan, I got one simple rule for white folks that want to say the N-word. And don't want to, not trying to say it in a mean way, not trying to call someone an N-word, but basically trying to, if you hear a DMX song or the Dream song where he says, that song, here's the thing with that. if you want to sing about and or want to say the N word, I don't get, me personally, I do not get that offended by that word in that sense. But here's the thing with me, and I think Ari Spears needs to, I think every Black person on the planet needs to have this rule. Um, I'm not gonna get mad at you personally for saying that stuff, but what I ain't gonna do is defend you for saying the N word uh, uh, when other Black people come for you. That's just not something I'm ever gonna do. I've told this to my white friends. I'm like, look, man, if you say that word and we're in a room full of Black people, and then the Black people start side-eyeing you and wanting to beat your ass for saying it, you're on your own. Basically, what I'd do is I'd be like, look, hey, my friend over here, he doesn't know any better. Please don't beat his ass or whatever. And hopefully they won't. I won't join in on the beating, but I'm not gonna tell them they're wrong for wanting to beat your ass. That's my rule on that. I'm not here to defend anybody, especially a white person, saying the N-word, man, because people get offended by that. And I don't, and that's just not something I subscribe to. Is, defending white folks for saying something racist or the N-word or whatever. If you F up, you F up. And if you're going to do that stuff, you need to be prepared to do that. So I'm not, and when you get checked for it, you need to just take your lumps. Now, to Joe Rogan's credit, he did apologize. I watched the whole apology video. And I thought the apology was as sincere as Joe Rogan was going to make it. I don't think it was, he was saying that the N-word was taken out of context. Nah, my dude, it wasn't taken out of context. It was taken in the context that you said the N-word 22, 24, or whatever the amount of times was. You said the N-word that many times, and you told that many stories where you had to say the N-word. You didn't replace it with the N-word. You said nigger plenty of times in that one, and whether you were, it doesn't, at this point, it doesn't matter, but you said it a bunch on your podcast. And I've heard him tell like pseudo racist stories on his podcast, and I just kind of laugh it off because I don't really care. But that's it. I'm actually more care about the doctors he has that do not have peer-reviewed articles on the COVID vaccine and having them preach on it like it's gospel. I'm more concerned about that, but that's just me. And then you had the celebrities that were quick to defend him for the COVID vaccine misinformation stuff. Because at that time you didn't know, none of these people knew the N-word thing was out there. If they did, I'm sure they would have defended him. You had people like Jewel and Troy Aikman and The Rock. And The Rock actually did come back out and say, hey, I didn't know the N-word thing was out there. I don't know if it was like, I don't know if he apologized for defending him or if he apologized because it came across that he was defending the N-word. And The Rock is Black and Samoan. The Rock, I've never seen The Rock like shy away from his Blackness, like not claiming it. He always mentions his father, Rocky Johnson. He, did a TV show on HBO, Ballers, with a predominantly Black cast. The Rock is I think The Rock owns his blackness, and I'm not going to qualify his blackness by saying, oh, he's black and Samoan. Black is black, in my opinion. And these internet warriors coming for The Rock and, saying, he turned his back on Joe Rogan. He's a punk. He's a beta. He's a this. He's a that. These dudes that would never say this shit to The Rock if they were in front of The Rock. They would only say it in the comfort of their internet, of their streams, coming from wherever, their mom's basements or whatever. They wouldn't say this crap to The Rock. The only bad thing that I thought The Rock did, which I thought Jewel did, what I thought Troy Aikman stuff, is we got to kind of let these stories breathe before we start defending or ridiculing people. That was how I handled this Joe Rogan thing. I didn't want to just come out with a YouTube video because coming up with YouTube videos is a cool thing to do. I wanted to let the story breathe. And then when I let it breathe, you find out that India Ari, she had the N-word mixtape compilation for that dude, man. And she had it in the chamber. And now these people who are defending Joe Rogan have to also clarify, I was defending his free speech right. I wasn't defending his N-word usage, right? So that's where we are with that. So I don't know how long I've been going on this, but it feels like I've been going forever. I just wanted to get these points out about the Joe Rogan thing. This is not going to, this is going to be a long video probably, but India Ari, she just said, take me off of Spotify. That's her right to do. That's her First Amendment right. And I got no problem with it. And Joe Rogan, his apology, I don't think it was the greatest apology in the world, but it was sufficient enough for me to be like, okay, this guy, I don't think we'll be hearing him say the N-word like that on tape again. And to his credit also, he said, when you have to come out and defend yourself and say, I'm not a racist, you effed up. And he did. So anyway, that's it for me. What do you guys think? Leave your comments, love or hate comments. It might hurt my feelings for 10 seconds if you have hate comments, but it is what it is. It's the internet. Anywho, I'll talk to you cats later. Peace.